The Berlin Conference of 1884 defined the configuration of Africa, which hitherto existed as a continent of multiple kingdoms and empires under native rulers. The conference, otherwise referred to as Congo Conference, regulated European colonization and trade in Africa as initiated by German leader Otto von Bismarck. The Berlin Conference is often called the scramble for and partitioning of Africa, as each of the imperial powers carved separate portions of the continent for themselves without recourse to racial and cultural identities and differences. 137 years after the Berlin Conference was held, Africa remains a legitimized playground for European nations that sought to exploit its wealth and resources and manipulate its human capital to promote trades and investments of Western powers. Western Spring Television identifies Berlin Conference as a major event in history. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Funmilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransome Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Funmilayo Ransome Kuti as a watershed character in history. Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history. Kiriji War, also known as Ekiti-Parapo War, was waged among Yoruba main ethnic groups which emerged from the ruins of the falling Oyo Empire that were desperate to replace the awesome powers hitherto wielded by the Alaafin of Oyo. The Kiriji War is defined as a conflict of confederacy and unitary political system championed by Yorubas of different socio-economic and political interests. The Ibadan military aristocrats felt they deserved a dominant position for saving Yoruba land from being totally submerged by the Fulanis by their victory in Osogbo War of 1840 and Ijaye War of 1862. Kiriji War, that took its name from the booming mortar sounds of European arms, festered for so long because the Industrial Revolution in Europe provoked high standards of slaves. The 16-year civil war also caused the emergence of new powerful kingdoms like Ibadan and the rise of powerful personalities like Oluyole, Ogunmola, Kurumi, Latosha, Shodeke, Fabumi, and Ogedengbe. One of the fallouts of Kiriji War was the birth of creative political and leadership structure in Yoruba land that was a blend of federalism and the autocratic monarchical system. Western Spring Television identifies Kiriji War as a watershed event. The Korean War of 1950 to 1953 pitched North and South Korea against each other in response to intrigues by nations beyond their border with different interests from those canvassed by the two brother nations. The Korean War had all the nuances of an external conflict induced by powers that were interested in subjugating North and South Korea. Japan had leveraged on its military power to annex Korea in 1900 and imposed a military union that did not sit well with the citizens. Japan not only lost its war of conquest against Korea, all its powers were obliterated by the effect of the World War II. The end of World War II got Korea divided into two nations along 38th parallel lines by the instrumentality of the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. The Korean War lapsed into a Cold War when it stopped the prying eyes of external forces into the internal affairs of a nation now divided along its north and southern territories. Western Spring Television identifies the Korean War as a major event in history.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever is pounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
And your sports Amazon, NENGI ERNEST.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Evelyn Ohiole,
Hi.
King Eve. How are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you? And you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine would be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
The 2023 and 2024 NBA season is back. It is officially back, and that news got me excited because it is a very big news. I have missed the NBA a whole lot. I have missed basketball a whole lot. But then again, Denver Nuggets will open their title defense against a revamped and a motivated side in LA Lakers in the early hours of tomorrow morning. And of course, I cannot wait for that particular game because I am highly anticipated for that particular game. Now, in other stories, the UEFA Champions League, of course, is also back. Would be seeing a whole lot of matches fixed for tonight, a whole lot of big guns to go down, a whole lot of big games, rather, to go down tonight. Now, all of this and more is the information I will be dishing out to you this Tuesday morning. My name is NENGI ERNEST Ademola, and this is Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. After this break, we'll start to give you more updates and details of the stories and more. We'll be right back. Very glad to know that you are still there with us. And if you're just joining in, this is Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. And my name is NENGI ERNEST Ademola, set to give you all of the updates making the rounds in the world of sports. But first and foremost, I start with the local scene. Now, let's give you updates coming in from the Nigerian Premier Football League side, Aqua United. Now, following that dismal outing in the ongoing 2023 and 2024 Nigerian Premier League season, the management of Aqua United has charged the players and coaches of the club to begin turning things around. Now, despite turning out good results during the preseason games, the Promise Keepers have yet to secure a win in the league after 4 games. The management called for an emergency meeting on Monday after the team played out another goalless draw against Shooting Stars in the matchday 4
last weekend. And after the meeting, the chairman of the club, Paul Bassi, told the players to show more commitment and dedication in the subsequent match. That is how it stands for updates coming in from the Nigerian Premier Football League side, Aqua United. An emergency meeting was called definitely to charge the players up, to charge the coaches up, to be able to turn things around, because currently as it stands, Aqua United lies bottom of the NPFL table after match day 4. Well, we wish them all the best. Let's see how far they can be able to go through the season. It's just 4 matches out of 38 full-blown matches, and we're definitely expecting them to bounce back anytime soon. Now, leaving that aside, let's move to the continent, where the inaugural edition of the African Football League is still currently ongoing. And the game between Enyimba FC and Wydad Casablanca ended 1-0 in favor of Wydad Casablanca right here in Nigeria at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. That game was played on Sunday. But then again, we stand to face another team we stand to face the Moroccan side, rather, for the second leg. Now, saddled with the uphill task of cancelling the 1-0 deficit against Wydad AC of Morocco in the second leg quarter-final encounter of the maiden edition of the African Football League, the Moroccan authorities deploys ugly tactics to frustrate Nigerian league champions, which is Enyimba FC. Now, as it passed midnight, Monday, 23rd October 2023, the People's Elephant were still stranded in Lagos Airport as Moroccan authorities failed to give authorization to land for a chartered aircraft from the international wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport. Now, the team will still be optimistic of upturning the 1-goal deficit at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo, were first to return back to having spent 6 hours and 30 minutes in the aircraft waiting for authorization to land from the Moroccan authorities. Well, a quite dicey one right there. That's the situation in which the Enyimba FC players are into right now. But we do hope that they get out of it immediately, because the game is billed for tomorrow, Wednesday, October 25th, 2023 at the Mohammed V Sports Complex, Casablanca, Morocco by 7 p.m. And as at the time of the report, Enyimba and NFF officials were officially lodging complaints to CAF. We do hope that this would not dismay them from their match that is slated for Wednesday, the 25th of October. Well, we wish them all the best. Let's see if they can turn things around in the inaugural edition of the African Football League. That's the update coming in from the African Football League second leg, which Enyimba FC is supposed to take on Wydad Casablanca in Morocco. Now, moving ahead and talking about the local scene, bringing you guys back to the local scene and giving you updates coming in from the NFF, that's the Nigerian Football Federation. Now, the Nigerian Football Federation has slammed the sum of 150,000 naira and 100,000 naira on clubs that will participate in the next year's Federation Cup. The men's football team will play 100,000 naira, while women's football pays 100,000 naira to be able to participate in the Nigerian oldest football competition. Late registration will attract the sum of 50,000 naira and 20,000 naira for each men's and women's football club, respectively. And this is contained in a press statement made available to BSN Sports on Monday night. And of course, just to reiterate it, that the registration fee by clubs for men's competition has been pegged at 150,000 naira, while clubs interested in participating in the women's competition will pay the sum of 100,000 naira each. And for late registration for the men's competition, it will be 200,000 and 120,000 for the women's competition. There you have it. Just a quick reminder that Bendel Insurance of Edo State pipped 10-man Rangers International 1-0 in this year's FA Cup final that was held at the Stephen Keshi Stadium at Sabah, Delta State. And the winners of the competition will represent Nigeria in the 2024 and 2025 CAF Confederation Cup. Of course, when Bendel Insurance won this year's FA Cup, they definitely represented Nigeria at the CAF Confederation Cup. But we're not smart enough, we're not very clinical enough to be able to get out of the preliminary stages and get into the group stages of the CAF Confederation Cup. Therefore, they lost to RS Bekane in the second leg of that one. But then again, there you have it. The NFF has slammed 150K, that's 150,000 naira and 100,000 naira for the Federation Cup fee in terms of registration. And any team who registers late for the men will stand to pay 200,000 naira, while for the women, it will be increased to 120,000 naira. And that brings us to giving you details on how the 2024 State Federation Cup will hold. Now, the 2024 State Federation Cup will hold from the 20th of January to the 25th of February 2024. All 36 states and FCT are expected to submit their representatives to the Nigerian Football Federation not later than 26th February 2024. Now, this was also contained in a press statement made available by the NFF to different sports journalists. Now, after the 1-month registration period, the state FAs will submit the completed players' licenses to the Nigerian Football Federation for production between 1st to 8th December 2023 before the commencement of the state competition has been scheduled for the period 20th January to 25th February 2024. And also to let you know that each state FA and the FCT FA will on 26th of February 2024 provide the NFF with its 2 representatives for the national competition. And just to repeat, once again, registration fee by clubs for the men's competition has been pegged at 150,000 naira, while clubs interested in participating in the women's competition will pay the sum of 100,000 naira each. Late registration for the men's competition will be 200,000 naira and 120,000 naira for the women's competition. I have been giving you updates coming in from the local scene. First of all, I started with the Nigerian Premier Football League side, Aqua United, and we talked about the fact that Paul Bassi, the chairman, has been able to charge all players and the coaches to be able to do the needful to turn their fortunes around when it comes to the Nigerian Premier Football League, because after match day 4, they lie down bottom of the table. I did talk about the second leg, which is slated for Eimba FC and the Wydad Casablanca of Morocco, right there in Morocco. And I talked about the delays that the Eimba FC club is currently experiencing with their flight. And thereafter, I talked about the NFF, of course, getting to slam teams with 150,000 naira and 100,000 naira Federation Cup fee. And that is for the registration. And I did talk about the fact that the 2024 State Federation Cup will hold from the 20th of January to the 25th of February 2024. And we also know that after the 1-month registration period, the state FAs will submit the completed player's license to the Nigerian Football Federation for production between the 1st to 8th of December 2023. And thereafter, of course, everything will be put together so that these teams can definitely participate in the 2024 State Federation Cup that will hold from the 20th of January to the 25th of February 2024. Having said all of this, let's also give you updates coming in from the Paris 2024 qualifiers as it concerns the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Recall that yesterday I brought you news also talking about officials and players that have arrived at Addis Ababa in preparation for the game slated on Wednesday against Ethiopia. And we'll still have more updates stemming in from that angle. Now, midfielder Esther Oyenedize, who impressed at last year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup finals in Costa Rica as Nigeria reached the quarterfinals, has been drafted to take the place of the 2023 FIFA World Cup star Halimatu Ainde in Nigeria's squad for the 2024 Women Olympic Football Tournament fixture against Ethiopia's senior women national team. Yesterday, I gave you news talking about the fact that Esther Oyenedize, who starred in the Under-20 Women's World Cup finals in Costa Rica while representing Nigeria, was drafted in late into the Super Falcons squad, and she has been placed there to replace Halimatu Ainde. Now, just to also inform you that the delegation of home-based players and technical and backroom staff from Nigeria flew into Addis Ababa on Sunday for Wednesday's opening leg encounter at the Abebe Bekila Stadium. And the foreign-based players have started arriving for the big match as well. The Super Falcons will host the second leg of the second-round fixture at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Abuja, on Tuesday, 31st of October, 2023. Meanwhile, midfielder Regina Otu, who missed the FIFA's Women's World Cup finals in Australia and New Zealand in the summer, and defender Osinachi Ohale, who plays for Pachuca FC of Mexico, have been ruled out of the fixture also. And of course, they definitely need to be replaced. And definitely another World Cup star, Christy Uchebe of Portuguese club SL Benfica, is also out of the encounter. So just like we have it here, the likes of midfielder Regina Otu, the likes of Osinachi Ohale, the likes of Christy Uchebe and Halimatu Ainde will be missing out of the Paris 2024 Olympics qualifier game against Ethiopia on Wednesday. But then again, Halimatu Ainde has been replaced by Esther Oyenezide, who got a late call-up into the Super Falcons squad. Now, the winner on aggregate will confront the winner of the fixture between Cameroon and Uganda. The indomitable Lionesses drew a bye, while Uganda overpowered Rwanda 4-3 on aggregate. And we'll trust our girls to be able to break the jinx by, getting to qualify right there when they take on Ethiopia. And, of course, take on the winner between Cameroon and Uganda. We expect them to break the jinx to qualify for the Paris 2024 games, as our names has been missing from that particular aspect. Of course, we have a full squad that definitely who we know that can be good enough to be able to execute the work on Wednesday against Ethiopia. And also for the second leg, which is going to hold on Tuesday, 31st of October in Abuja, Nigeria. Well, we wish the Super Falcons of Nigeria all the very best at this point, but be reminded that the likes of Osinachi Ohale, midfielder Regina Otu, and Uchebe are missing out of the clash this time around. Now, let's talk about a legend when it comes to the Super Falcons. Let's talk about a lady who, retired at the end of the day, and that's none other than Okpara Nozie. And of course, on the Punch Extra this morning, they were reporting about the fact that Okpara Nozie has hinted at going into UFC after retiring from football. I don't know how she wants to do that, but she looks like somebody who can actually get into the UFC. But we'll see how things panned out to be for her after representing Nigeria for a very long time. Of course, she retired after the 9th edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup, and we want to wish her all the best in her further outing when it comes to other areas of her life. Now, moving that aside, let's also talk about the AFCON 2023, as we know that the AFCON ball for the 2023 AFCON, which is slated for next year, January, has been unveiled. Now, ahead of the 2023 African Cup of Nations, the Confederation of African Football, that's CAF, has unveiled the official match ball for the competition. The official match ball, Poco, is named after Ivorian legendary forward Laurent Poco, a legend of African football whose 5 goals in the 6-1 victory over Ethiopia at the 1970 edition of the African Cup of Nations remains a record during the final competition. The official ball Poco features the 3 main colors of the Cote d'Ivoire flag, white, orange, and green, just like you have it been displayed on your screen right now. That's the official ball of the 2023 AFCON, whilst incorporating the latest technology that will revolutionize the game on the continent and beyond. We also know that Elwan, a son of the late Poco, presented the iconic and beautifully designed match ball to the audience during the final draw. There again, you have it on your screen, the official match ball for the AFCON 2023, which is slated for January and ends of February 2024. That match ball is named Poco, definitely designed in the Cote d'Ivoire flag. Of course, it has white, orange, and green, and definitely the latest technology being invented and, of course, into that ball. And not to forget that Poco is named after, that's the AFCON 2023 football, is named after an Ivorian legendary forward, Laurent Poco, a legend of African football whose 5 goals in the 6-1 victory over Ethiopia at the 1970 edition of the African Cup of Nations remains a record during the final competition. And do not forget that Nigeria, of course, has been placed in Group A for the 2023 AFCON, where they would face the likes of the host, that's Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, and also Equatorial Guinea. We're looking forward to that particular clash. Of course, we are highly in anticipation of the year 2024 January, as it serves to be a very big one in the continent Africa. Now, if you are just joining in, you're tuned into Sports Spring on Western Spring Television, and my name is NENGI ERNEST Demola, riding solo and giving you all of the updates coming in from the locals. And we talked about updates from the Nigerian Premier Football League side, Aqua United. We talked about the Moroccan Authority and how they are currently delaying Eimba FC from flying into Morocco, and we do hope that that situation will be handled as soon as possible. We also talked about the NFF, slamming 150,000 naira and 100,000 naira for both the men and women's FA Cup, which is slated for next year also. And I gave you updates coming in from the Super Falcons Cup in Addis Ababa in preparation for the Paris 2024 Olympics qualifiers game that is slated for this Wednesday, that is tomorrow, against Ethiopia. The likes of Osinachi Ohale, the likes of midfielder Reginald Tu and Chrissy Ochebe are out. But then again, to replace Halimatu Ainde, Esther Oyenezide, who started in the Under-20 Women's World Cup, was given a late call-up. And finally, we talked about Okwara Nozie, who has just retired and was hosted by a whole lot of supporters right there. And of course, she hinted at a career in UFC. And finally, the CAF football definitely has been unveiled. It was unveiled during the AFCON draws, and the pictures have been released. It is named Poku after an Ivorian legend right there. And all of us, of course, we do hope that come 2024, for the AFCON slated for January to end February, we would definitely do ourselves proud, talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Right about now, let's go on our very first break for the show and give you highlights of games coming in from yesterday. Games were played in the English Premier League. Tottenham Hotspur against Fulham. That game ended in favor of Tottenham Hotspur, as well as La Liga Santander and other top flight football. We will be right back.